Greetings, YouTube. I enjoyed the Net Librum video I did in the past, so I'm going to do another one because it was just fun. So we are going to be looking at the Net Librum of Random Magical Effects version 2.00 by Orrex, O-R-R-E-X. And this is a chart of 10,000 random effects that can happen because of chaos magic or weird artifacts or whatever. It doesn't matter what the reason is, but they can happen. And we're going to do 5 today, and we're going to just use a random number generator of 1 to 10,000, and Mandarin is going to sing for us in the background. Hopefully maybe I can keep her on the floor and not on my keyboard. That would be awesome, because if she steps on the space bar, video stops. Generate 8717. Let us be sure that the video, it is in fact working. Well, one nice thing, there actually is a little icon down here that shows me it's working. I keep forgetting that that's there. So 8717. And the 7,000s. I'm almost there. 86, 90, 87, 17. Here we go. All within 50 yards have conflicting memories of the past day. Now, if that's just like a day of travel for your party from point A to point B, we often gloss over that kind of thing. That isn't going to matter. But if it's a day in town where something important happened, particularly if you've had interactions with NPCs of some kind of import, that could cause a lot of confusion. The GM is going to have to write up specifically like what each person remembers of that day. So maybe 3 bullet points. You remember these 3 things that happened on this day. It happened yesterday. And any different ones. There could be some overlap, and even at the overlap, it necessarily wouldn't be exactly the same memory of that same event. So while you could remember the same conversation, you might not remember who from which said which part of the conversation, or one person made a promise and the other one, and the other said, no, that guy made the promise, that kind of thing. So yeah, that could have some nice RP effects on your game. I kind of like that. That's got some sowing chaos among the ranks things going on there, and I always like those. Okay, number 2. 541. So we're going to just grab our little bar. Zoom. Come on, move back up. That's way at the top. Here we go. Caster can teleport at will, but loses 1 to D100 hit points each time. Wow, that is something that you definitely do not want to use unless you absolutely have to. Or you find some way of boosting your hit points in some insane manner. Or some kind of, you have to have some kind of magic item or something that does a death watch effect on you or something. You know what I mean? Like if you are rendered to 0 or fewer hit points, you are automatically given a heal point potion or something. Set of some kind of contingency, because otherwise that could be just a death sentence. Because your average spellcaster, for the most part, are kind of squishy. I mean, back in first edition, lots of mages, a lot of the wizards were essentially the magic users that were called back then. They were, often just glass cannons. They had huge effect, man, but they were really brittle. And they were dead. I mean, you could literally start your campaign with 1 hit point and no combat spells. Yeah. Sometimes random isn't so much friggin' fun. That could be very powerful. It is very powerful. The teleportation at will is very powerful. But that's a nasty side effect. That would... Wow, man. I don't know if I'd ever want to use it.
Okay, well, we're backing up into the 8,700, 88,000s. We're up to 85. What was that? It was 85, 85, 85. I should have remembered that. 85, 85. Here we go. All within 50 yards are 10% likely to be stricken bald forever. Now, as a bald dude who started going bald at 15, and I had no say in this, so nature decided that I would start going bald at 15. Though the fact that my grandfather had nothing but the monk's ring at age 19 should have been an indication that I was doomed to being bald at a young age. Um, Being bald isn't that big a deal. In the summertime, like it is at the moment of this filming, it is not that bad. You have to cover your hair in the sun, head in the sun, but you radiate heat really well. And keeping your head clean is really simple. And the fact that society places such a stigma on bald, that's the problem. So this shouldn't, in a just world, be an issue. It's like no one really cracked bald jokes to Jean-Luc Picard because he's a badass captain. Or Cisco, because he was a badass captain. So you just don't crack jokes about some people because they're badass. Who cares if they're bald? But the reality is that lots of societies think bald is bad. Now, I think that would probably be less prevalent in a world where there's so many different races and so many different cultures that deal with them. So this is kind of like our society projecting its way into D&D in a probably unrealistic manner. I don't think a D&D or a Pathfinder world would necessarily have the same social tropes about baldness as that we do here. So this is kind of a joke against the players, I think, more than anything. Within the context of the world, it really wouldn't be that big a thing, I don't think. But I understand why it's here. But 10% chance isn't that great. And if you're bald forever, man, just get over it. Now, if it's alopecia, I think it's alopecia. Is it alopecia where you have no hair whatsoever? That could be a greater stigma. Because that's going to be, might be seen as slightly very unusual. Because you don't have any eyebrows, you don't have any facial hair, you don't have any eyelashes, nothing. In fact, I might do that just because that, to me, that would be a little bit more extreme than just no hair on your scalp. But yeah, so okay, that's number 3. So what's number 4? 3212. 3212. 33. Here we go. Next person to whom caster speaks must give him 8 die 8 gold pieces. That's really low powered. And since there's no way for the caster to know that, if it's a party member, it's not that big a deal. Pardon me. Yeah, that's a pretty low level. That's a pretty low level. You're not generating a lot of party intrigue out of that. Though, I mean, obviously, if you just speak to someone and they just hand you, other people may think that's weird. The person themselves may think they've had a spell cast them, so maybe you can get a little legs out of that. Maybe there is some RP legs in there if you wanted to play it up. Third person watching it may think that a spell's been cast on that person. The person themselves may think a spell's been cast. So yeah, maybe there are little RP legs in there. Okay, number 5. We're going to stay in the 3000s. 3516. Kind of makes this relatively easy. Here we go. 3516. Someone very dear to the caster doesn't really exist. Now that is devastating. So it's going to have to be someone that no one else in the party or no NPC has ever encountered. So someone you've been talking about. And that person turns into your girlfriend in Canada. If you'll won't mind me borrowing a trope. So, what had been a real person ceases to exist except as a figment of a memory. Now, that could have some long term effects, particularly if that person had contact in the past. So, like, it's a sister or a brother or a spouse. There's no one in the group, or an old lover. No one in the group knows about them, and none of the NPCs that the party regularly contacts knows about them. But there were other contacts with that character in the past. So, like, what do you mean you don't remember Bob? He's your brother, or he's your son, or he was your cousin, or what have you, or he was your priest. And suddenly, Bob's just gone, and the only one that remembers Bob is you. And how long does it take for you, the character at least, to start to question your own sanity? So that's devastating, particularly if the GM is cruel and picks someone that comes from the player's character's background that they had fleshed out themselves. So yeah, that could be more of a. I mean, that's like more of a horrible effect that would happen to one of us in the real world than your character mind. But yeah, that's cruel. That's powerful. As you can tell from this list, it varies from the very mundane, minor stuff, 8d8 gold pieces. Even if the silver-based system and gold is really worth a lot, to erasing a person from the very fabric of reality themselves. I think if you had to get your hands on a wish spell, you might be able to undo that. At least I'd allow that. Reset the fabric of reality back to what it was supposed to be. But yeah, that's big. So this has been the Net Librum. Oops. Sorry, there's somebody. I hope you didn't hear that outside. There's somebody outside talking. The Net Librum of Random Magical Effects, version 2.00 by Oryx. I highly recommend this, and if I am smart, I will remember to put a link to this in the notes below. But yeah, I think I may be doing more of these because I find these very entertaining, and they really do get you thinking about stuff, from the very mundane to the very powerful and philosophically terrifying, frankly.